Hello everyone, and welcome again to Beth the Chef. I hope you all had a good Easter and had plenty of chocolate. And we're continuing with Easter, getting out of the chocolate, but this episode is combining some spring flavours along with a little bit of brunch. So there's like 4 stages of this video. The first stage is our lemon curd. Second, making a crumble with macadamia nuts, which is going to go on top of the third stage. Blueberry muffins. And the 4th stage is to assemble, because the plan is blueberry crumble muffins, but we're going to pipe in the lemon curd. And you'll see how this is all done later. And all the secrets will be revealed. So we've got a lot to pack in. And well, I wanted to do a little bit more of the brunch side because a lot of people go out for brunch, but they don't necessarily think of making some stuff at home. So yeah, we'll show you all of that. So yeah, we've got a fair bit to pack in again, a fair bit of technical skills with the lemon curd. So let's cook. Right, so I've gathered my ingredients up for the lemon curd, and curd you can use any citrus fruit with, really. You could even use raspberries, but yeah, do like a good lemon curd. So I've just got this on a low setting, but it's a large bain-marie over simmering water, and yeah, you don't want the bottom of the bowl to be touching the water. All helps with the tempering process. So you need a whisk at the ready. And see that? There's the zest and juice of 2 lemons there. 100 grams of caster sugar. 2 eggs, which I'll beat up in just a minute. And butter for later on. Now, diced into quite small pieces, and 50 grams of unsalted butter. So there's a bit of heat there now, to which I just add the lemon. And my sugar. And just let it dissolve a bit. Yep, gradually add while mixing. And yeah, you don't want it to scramble or anything. Keep a good eye on it. Right, so I'm just going to take this off the heat. incorporate it well. And get my butter. There we are. Turn the heat down a bit. Now to add a little bit more, a bit of va-va-voom to the muffins, we're going to do a crumble. Yeah, like you see in bakeries and things, a crumble topping on the muffins. And this method is the 1 part flour, about two-thirds of that amount sugar, and then half of that amount butter. And we're going to add some macadamia nuts into the mix, because lemon, blueberry, macadamia nuts, it's classic. Well, it's not a classic combination, but we will make it iconic. Right, so I've gathered up everything now for the crumble topping for the muffins. So in here I've got 100 grams of plain flour and 50 grams of cold cubed unsalted butter, 75 grams of caster sugar, to which we will go through the process of just traditional way you make crumble mix. But before that, in here with a microplane is 50 grams of macadamia nuts. Now I've got one here if you've not seen macadamia nut before. So yeah, they're pale and round, and in the same way it looks, it tastes like a cross between, well, I think a Brazil nut and a hazelnut. So quite mild in taste, and the same texture of a Brazil nut, but creamy like a hazelnut. And we're going to go over to the heat. Get your pan nice and hot there, a dry pan. And straight in there. Keep moving it, keep your eye on it, because once it starts to toast and darken in colour, it will get there pretty quick. So you can see it happening quickly now. And yep, I'll take that off the heat. straight back into your little pot, just because it's cool. And so as it's cooling, it's a lovely brown colour there, we're going to do our crumble mix. And just do your thin fingers like you would normally. Rub it in the butter and flour till you resemble like a breadcrumb consistency. Right, there we go. And that's the cooling down, but they're still quite hot. So what I'm going to do to help them cool down a bit is actually mix them in with the sugar. Lovely. Yes, check with your finger, but it's cooled down. And just simply mix it into your butter and flour. There we are. And along with your lemon curd, just keep this in the fridge while we tackle the muffin mix. Right, and now it's time to move on to our muffins, the main event. And quite a few people are still a little unsure, maybe, on the difference between muffins and a cake, or a cupcake. And it's more in the method, really. So if you think with a cake, you're creaming the butter and the sugar together. But muffins, it's more of what we call a quick bread method. And you'll see later on, but it's almost get the dry ingredients and then you get your wet and gradually combine. And you'll know as well, obviously if you've eaten a cake and a muffin has a slightly denser texture. Right, so it's another generation game of ingredients for the muffins. So the first step of this was melting butter, and it's a yellow tub, so you can't really see it. But in there is 150 grams of melted butter. In my bowl here, there's 250 grams of plain flour and 140 grams of caster sugar. By the way, this it's gonna vary with the amount because of the blueberries we're adding in, but this recipe makes at least 12 muffins. We need a splash of milk for later on, 2 eggs. So yeah, in here I've halved some blueberries, but there's 100 grams. Some vanilla, because vanilla just adds to everything in pastry, quite frankly. Baking powder. Now we're sort of having I mentioned earlier about having our dried ingredients in a bowl and then adding the wet. So into the bowl I'm putting 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. There we go. And to that as well, for a bit of oomph and flavour, and because I love the spice, just adding just over a teaspoon of ground cardamom, to which I actually put on my porridge as well in the morning with honey because it's bloody lovely. Right, so I'm just going to mix this together. There we go. Now the butter's starting to cool down. Lovely. Just getting the spatula. Right, so to the butter. I'm going to mix in a bit of vanilla. And my 2 eggs, if it doesn't roll away. Right, so just going to gradually fold this into the dry mix. And that bit down the bottom there. As you can see, the mix is coming together nicely. There we go. Now to this, I'm going to add some milk. See how you go with a splash of milk, because obviously once those blueberries pop in there, that's going to release some more liquid. We are starting to look like a nice batter now. So I'll add a little bit more. And then our blueberries. Right, so I've preheated the oven to 180 degrees. And I'm just gonna line my cases. Now, I actually use a muffin tray for cupcakes as well, because I feel like they hold a better shape than those shallower ones you get that are like, these ones have a better shape. And they don't only look better, but it's a lot more convenient if you want to add any decoration on top there. You probably get more quantities as well, really, which everyone likes more cake. Hey? Right. Well, just, yeah, cautiously, just to make sure there's a bit of blueberry in every single one. Yeah. So yeah, in the oven 180 for 15 minutes. Oh, let's not forget. Almost forgot. This is when we put our crumble topping on. Nice sprinkle on top of each one. Now we're ready for the oven. So, muffins are straight out. Got a nice golden brown to them. Lovely crumble on top there. Just going to carefully put them on the cooling rack. Right, so they've cooled down nicely. I've got a piping bag ready to put the curd in. And just with a cocktail stick, just gonna prise open holes. Okay, in each one. And now just spoon some curd in. As you can see, it's thickened up lovely there. Again, cut your little hole. They're about that size. And just simply pipe it in there. You get a nice blob on the top there, show you that it's full. Right, so here we've got muffins, and I'll just try and do a cross section of one. so we can see what it looks like inside. And one there. You can see the cross section there. Naughty, huh? So yeah, here are blueberry muffins with a little bit of cardamom. Easily stuffed with a fresh lemon curd. And a nice toasted macadamia crumble topping. So spread the word, Beth the chef. And yeah, join us next week. Next week we're going to continue with the brunch theme, and we're gonna make it a little meaty, but our version of Hueveros Rancheros. And for those who don't know what that is, you have to tune in next week. Bon appetit!